If you clicked on this video, you believe that you are a workaholic. And I want to make something explicitly clear to separate something before we start. And I'm not trying to demean anybody, but a workaholic and somebody who works a lot are very different. If you are this individual who works 60 hours a week, enjoys it, and is able to do everything else, like spend time with family, sleep what you need to eat, and you're comfortable and you're happy, you are not a workaholic. A workaholic is very, very different. And if you do have that luxury of working 60 hours because you want to and you enjoy your work, you may call yourself a workaholic, but it's not entirely destructive. And as long as you're okay and you're happy and you're not hurt, I would say continue. I would say it would be a good thing. For me, I love working. I work 55 hours a week, and it's not because I feel compelled to. It is because I want to, and I like creating content, and I'm very happy with it, so I don't consider myself a workaholic. What a workaholic is, it is the individual is working compulsively. It will cost them their sleep, social functions such as meeting friends or spending time with family, eating, drinking any kind of fluid. They just work and work and work. They feel compelled to. They feel like they have to work. If you fit more of that criteria, you might be a workaholic. And I would implore you, before we even start going through this and even diving down deep and really getting this, to see somebody about this. And I really want you to get professional help, and I hope that you do. But if you are still here and you're still ready to learn more about maybe why I'm a workaholic, and maybe I'm strong enough to possibly do something about it, or I might do something about it personally, then listen and enjoy. There is no generally accepted medical definition of being a workaholic. But because the term workaholic originated from a alcoholic, it is the implication is the same, but except alcohol, you trade out work. So this is a form of impulse control disorder, or obsessive compulsive personality disorder, or obsessive compulsive disorder, and all of those can be related. Heck, even if you're stressed, some people's escape may not be a bottle or a drug, it might be work. But work is not it's not limited to a paying job. It can also refer to independent pursuits like sports, music, art, science. If you are an artist and you paint and paint and paint and you're not getting paid for it, but you feel compelled to, you might be a workaholic. If you play sports, if you're a football player and you just play and play and play, where to the point where you can't move and you do it every day, you're a workaholic. And there's a lot going on there. However, there is a term used for, there is a often used term to refer to these. It's an excessive amount of time, it's an inner compulsion to work hard and neglect family and other social relations or even personal relations. This can also come out from neuroticism, if you actually get sexual gratification out of working. And if you're listening to me and you think that's crazy, there are people who do. Perfectionism and conscientious-ism. I butchered that, but I'm having an issue. So in different cultures, being a workaholic has different connotations. And especially in Japan, it's a real serious problem that leads to early death of being a workaholic. They believe that it is a thing of honor if you work and work and work and work. And unfortunately, sleep deprivation, strokes, impaired brain and cognitive functions are associated with this. And I'm sorry, I don't want to narc on Japan or anything, but you guys have that compulsion where if somebody just, their body gives out, there's dishonor. And it doesn't happen as much now as it did maybe 30, 40 years ago, but it is very scary, and please do not continue to perpetuate that culture of being a workaholic, because you are hurting people, you are damaging people, and these people are depressed. They work, but they're depressed. People do it for stress relief. They do it because they're depressed and they don't want to stop, because stopping gets them thinking about other things. That's something there. They crave work. They crave doing something, and it affects, general lives, not just for that person, but the people around you. That's a workaholic. Some of the explanations that could be there, the 4 categories that most neurological scientists and behavioral experts like to categorize these, they're in 4 components, and I think it really does lead to overworking. So motivational workaholics are different forms of people who are simply highly engaged in their jobs. They don't enjoy their work. They feel compelled to work because of internal pressures. I'm not good enough. I need to feed my family, so I'm going to work 70, 80 hours, and I'm going to sacrifice my own life, and it's bad. In other words, they work because they feel like they should or ought to be working. Cognitive. Workaholics have a persistent thought, for the most part, about work, thoughts about work when they're not working, and find it difficult to mentally disengage from work. Yes, there are people who just think about it constantly. Oh my God, I have to be working. Why am I not working? And they're at home because their doctor sent them home, and it's like, that's cognitive. Emotional. Workaholics experience negative emotions like anxiety or guilt if they aren't working. Behavioral. Workaholics tend to work beyond what is reasonably expected by their organization. Reasonably expected. If you're a business who likes people who are workaholics, that's a problem. And it's to those people as well. And people are like, oh, what about CEOs? They put in the grind. We clarified this. Number one, a lot of CEOs will delegate a lot of the responsibilities of the lower work. I don't want to say lower work, but it's lower work, like checking emails and maybe even doing marketing, where they're maybe not as strong, but they're the CEO. They'll allocate it because they don't want to do it. And there are people who do. When I first started out, I did everything, and I still like to kind of keep myself in there, not because I feel like I have to, is because I want to. If you want to work. If you don't, I would recommend seeing a psychologist and a counselor and figure out what's going on. And the reason for this could be a number of things, just like any other disorder, like being an alcoholic. A workaholic could work out of being shamed by a family member. They could be disengaged from their family, so they want to stay there as much as possible, not because they have to, is because they're compelled to get away. Their home life might not be the best, so they work because then they're in a different environment. Those are workaholics. And how to escape this, and it's really important to emphasize the great things about having outside help, is just seek help. Tell somebody. If you have a spouse, tell your spouse, hey, I think I might be a workaholic, and I think people need to take it more seriously, and it drives me crazy that it is not categorized in any kind of mental health book, even though all these mental health experts say this is a big problem, especially right now. It could be triggered by a number of factors: internal needs, external factors, underlying personality traits that maybe they don't even know. understand yourself. And that's a really big thing too. Understanding yourself is a huge thing. It's a very important factor, and I just want you guys to just understand this. It is very serious. If you are a workaholic, please get help. But if you think you can do it yourself, maybe ask your employer if you can take some time off, or talk to your family members and see if there's something that they can do to help you. The one thing that I did, and I was a workaholic at one point, I found other activities that I did at home where I was excited to go home. Find something at home that makes you so happy, where when the day is done, you're ready to launch out that door because you want to do that. You need to, and also disconnect yourself mentally from work. When you come home, work is done. Don't worry about it. And I know, easier said than done, but finding an outside activity other than work is such an important factor. And, people will get depressed when they're retired because they were workaholics. It was a generational thing. It's like all you had to do is work. Work, come home, drink beer, go to bed. Work, come home, drink beer, go to bed. Find things that excite you. I like going to the gym, so when I worked, I was excited to get out because then I could sweat off all of that stress and everything, and that was exciting to me, and that really helped. I'm an artist, so I did art, and I still do art. Even to this day, I do my own paintings, and it's fun, and it disconnects myself. I'd use the skills, but it disconnects myself. And I really did hope you enjoyed this. There's so much about workaholics and all of that still are being studied. So this is just kind of like a brief overview of what's going on with being a workaholic. But since we're talking about the root chakra, this is a root chakra compulsion. It is something where it's survival. It's survival because you want to get away from the situation, and work and being at work is an avenue to get away from a situation. So definitely keep that in mind. And I want to thank you all for listening. If you did enjoy this rant, if you really did, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you at the next video, and have a wonderful rest of your day.